Hello and welcome to Culture Vibes, the Federal's special program in which we talk to writers and artists about their work. India's triumph at Cannes this year made us all very proud, especially because an Indian film, Payal Kapadia's All We Imagine as Light, a shimmering love poem to Mumbai and sisterhood, was the first film in 30 years to have won the top honor, Grand Prix. Joining me today is the wonderful Kani Kusruti, one of the finest actors who plays a lead role in All We Imagine Is Light. Kani, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Straight
Yeah.
to the back, Kani, just returning from the whirlwind of Cannes, I hear you have dived straight back into filming. I was just wondering if it is all sunk in. How do you look at that precise moment on the red carpet, and when that moment when the film was announced as the winner of the Grand Prix?
Um, yeah, it hasn't sunk in a way. One is because my trip was so short. It almost feels like a dream. Did it happen or not? Even I don't know. It kind of becomes your reality when I think for me when I'm able to share it with my team members, and most of them are staying back and they're traveling in the Europe, and also I wish Divya was here or someone was here so that we can hey, do you remember that day this happened or something. So there's no one here to where I can kind of share the
Mm.
memory with in terms of actually sharing it with each other. I can only tell them this happened, but I'm like, did it really happen or not? That's the feeling. But winning, of course, all of us were very happy, very genuinely happy. One is because I thought Pyle truly deserves. I mean, I'm not saying she's the only one to deserve. I'm sure there were other films. Like, I mean, always I find competition and awards are especially judged by a jury is about that 4 5 people, and that particular time. I mean, I find all interesting films amazing, whether it wins something or not, and especially a festival like Cannes. I feel when they select it in a certain category itself, I find it. I have an expectation the film will may have something to offer that is unique and new to it or something, or it will give me some epiphany, or it there will be something that I can take back home or something. So just being in the category itself was something very special for us. Every film that were in different categories would have been something interesting to offer is how I see it. So even before winning, we were very happy. And when of course for Payal, I felt she deserves it. So it's not just because I was part of it. I thought she has a unique voice of her own, and she's an author. And when I read her script, I felt it's very subtle and poetic. At the same time, it's pushing. It's very gently making you feel something larger than the expression of the film, and which is even difficult to do sometimes, I think. And I was also curious to know whether the finally the direction or the film captured the script's essence. So when I watched it, because we all most of us actors watched it in the premiere only, so
Mm.
I was quite surprised to see that it almost managed to grasp the essence from the script and the story itself to the film, which I thought was a difficult job. And I was, in that way, I thought, yeah, she deserves it. So I was very happy when she won. At the same time, it was a strange feeling, maybe because she kind of took us also on the stage. Suddenly
Yeah.
it felt like, oh, it didn't feel like, oh, we are actors, I felt like, oh, all the women that I knew from past, before, now, and in the future, this is for all of us or something. That feeling came when she kind of invited us as, like, like, you are also part of this. I suddenly felt that extension of that winning this and sharing that happiness is an extension to all the sisterhood or like women in India or something like this, I felt. So yeah, that was a feeling.
Right. No, it was clearly possible, and in the way you guys were having a lot of fun there, and and all you women, powerful actors, and director. It was a great moment. It was also a moment that marked the triumph of indie cinema, don't you think, Kani? Because and of course feminism, because you had many more women-centric films this year, and women
Yeah.
directors, women actors. So it was quite gratifying to see that.
Yeah, I absolutely like. I mean, I think I've been fortunate to work with a lot of different female directors,
Mm,
and also the whole set to be run by mostly women. So all these are like not such a common experience as an actor for me. So, uh, like somehow in the past few years, I've been fortunate to be on sets with mostly women, and even the directors being women and everything. So um yeah, like I mean, even the story of Pile's story, there is a all these characters in it, like there's a journey for these characters and how they kind of become, you know, inclusive of the other, and all this is there.
yeah.
So it is a certain kind of female friendship. There is romance also between others, and basically all kinds of relationships, and that you kind of reach out to when when you're so kind of lonely. Not about lonely is probably not the right word, but you know, when you are far away from where you're born, and then you are working in another city, and city offers you a lot of freedom, and for some characters it is probably like really amazing, like to be in a
Mm,
place where you get more freedom than where you were. And for some people it can be too overwhelming, and at the same time it's such a, you need a lot of money to live and survive there. At the same time, the whole system itself may be throwing some people back to their village. They're not allowed to be in the city. So basically, I felt in Pile's film, not just the female characters, mostly all the main important characters are all displaced from their place. They are all
yes.
working in somewhere else,
Mm,
and they are finding their own way to be survive there. And some people are not able to survive, they go back. Some are thriving, and some are through this friendship or the romantic relationship or everything they have, they kind of try growing together and learning from that to be kind of being inclusive of other. And yeah, so all that is like part of friendship. I mean, not just probably female
mm,
friendship, but kind of friendship, how we, when we allow each other to listen to each other, when you are willing to apologize and listen to the other, and kind of let go of your old beliefs or some socially constructed belief system that you probably should let go of, so that you can make a choice of your own. So all this is there, but I felt like she still managed to make it like so subtly and not on the face kind of way.
mm, mm,
So when you say about it's a like feministic thing, I mean, of course it is there, but I'm saying even in the story, and then the way we
mm.
worked and everything, yeah, there is a certain camaraderie that developed between, even within the film characters and outside of it and around
Yeah.
it and everything. Yeah, this is there for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. In fact, Payal has spoken about how this was a film which emerged out of an idea of friendship, and also how when you live alone from away from family, your friends become your
Yeah.
family, and it was
Yeah.
a kind of a tribute to that. So the female solidarity is all about it. But I was just
Yeah.
curious to know, would you say that had it been a male director, perhaps you wouldn't have understood the nuances of the film, of the story, and not handled it the way perhaps and brought the same sensibility as Pyle does in this movie.
I mean, I don't know if I can put gender to it in that way. Like, I always think, I mean, even a female can have a male gaze. The
Yeah.
patriarchy or like that gaze is not just coming just because someone is a female or male. I feel it really depends how much you are willing to break all those things within you and then try to make it. Because there can be a male director who could also see it without male gaze. It's not improbable or impossible.
Mhm.
But yes, coming back to your question, maybe proportionately that's less and the other is larger for being, but I don't know. Like, it's an
Right.
assumption at the same time. Even
Mm.
female filmmakers can have male gaze or
Right.
not exactly understanding the nuances that we just talked about.
Yeah.
It's possible they also lack in showing that. It's not necessary, is how I see.
Mm.
Otherwise, it's just an assumption, unless we have clear data on it.
Yeah. Right.
But
No,
to have
considering
even clear data, we don't have equal number of female directors who was able to do this, so we don't know. Yeah.
right. No, but you are somebody who has worked obviously, irrespective of the gender. This thing you have worked with male
Yeah.
directors, female directors. Do you think? No, my question is more to do with the fact that Do you think female directors bring a different kind of sensibility to a story like this?
So
Perhaps that
see,
would be a bit.
most female directors that I have worked with, it has happened. That's exactly what I'm saying. Just from my experience, I'm not able to say the all female directors in the world are that. I'm not able to say, but I've been extremely lucky and privileged or fortunate. I don't know the words. Which whoever female directors that I have worked with has been like really amazing and very different from each other in terms of
Hmm.
their process and in terms how they communicate to actors to everyone. But I felt like each of this way is amazing. There was never I was feeling I like this more than no. Each was all unique and different, but yet very interesting and new to me and very inclusive, and they were all receptive, and
Hmm.
like that was really nice. And more than that, the way they were dealing stressful situations while we are shooting a film. There's always sometimes time is going, we don't have the money, the location is only today, there can be so
Yeah.
many stress that will kind of tend to make us behave in a certain way. Some of our hard emotions can come out, but then most of these female directors, I have been surprised how calmly they have kind of dealt the situation,
Hmm.
which I thought is very incredible and something to take back with me, probably.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, what are you filming now? Would you like to share something, or is it all under wraps right now?
No, no, I can share it. It's not a film, it's a web series in Malayalam
Okay.
that's going to come on Sony Live.
Okay.
It's directed by this person called Manu Ashokan. He has directed
Mm-hmm.
two Malayalam films before this. Uyare was on acid attack survivor, which Parvati was acting, and then Kane Kane, again a thriller kind of film, but a very different kind of thriller. So now he's directing this web series called Ice, like ice, and yeah, I mean we are still shooting, so yeah.
Talking of Malayalam cinema, Kani, I think it's of course, and I think you also have spoken about this in some of your interviews. How and all the directors and all the actors who are coming from Malayalam cinema, in fact, they do emphasize the fact that there is a ready audience in Kerala for all kinds of films, experimental, avant-garde. So there is the very fact that there is a viewership for all kinds of cinema in Malayalam film industry. Do you think that has also led to this proliferation of directors trying out different things, actors also, experimenting with their with different kinds of roles?
India is so vast and different languages, and we are so different from each other in many things. So I don't even know regionally. Some
Hmm.
regions films I know I am aware of, but I still don't know a lot of things happening in what all expressions are happening there. So I can't really comment on. I can't compare Malayalam cinema to other in that way, because you really need to try to watch a lot of other things to kind of compare it. But just being the audience being there, and because of that new coming, I also suddenly, because when you ask me this, I'm thinking, how can we
Hmm.
watch every film? That comes from also certain kind of financial freedom that every house is having. A state like Kerala, I was just thinking a family can go out and watch a film kind of
Hmm.
easily, and that is why probably they were able to kind of watch most of the films, which
Hmm.
is kind of how audience is also growing with cinema. Hence they are able to kind of adapt new things. And then also we have a film festival which is quite prestigious, which is in Trivandrum, which is almost happens end of the year, so that they kind of curate most of the best films that has gone around in the world that year, and it kind of shows. So of
Hmm.
course all this, I mean, how does that happen? I thought like certain kind of resources management, that probably the government doing it in right or something is there, that and then that is made the people grow with film, watching film and everything, is probably how like you also get educated how to watch and what is happening and everything. So both goes in hand, but to begin, like maybe we can afford watching a film, or every film or something is there. Maybe from my childhood I've seen most people going for film. So I don't know if every state had that kind of freedom, or was it only in the cities, or even in the villages people go. Then what kind of films are shown there? Is there, how many different films are going there, and then will it be watched? But then many films may not be subtitled, then maybe only regional films are playing there. So how uh, does that does that make it slower, the growth and change, so right now when you're
Hmm.
asking, I was just thinking about this.
Right. No, but the very fact that now we have of course the privilege of OTT, and there are just so many platforms, and the fact that you can
Yeah,
watch any film with the subtitles, and
yeah.
there are films on demand, there are all kinds of platforms available, right? So suddenly
I agree,
you
but
become.
not all the
Hmm.
films still you can watch. For example, I used to
Hmm.
like a lot of Malayalam films, which was in the 80s and 90s and 70s,
Correct.
which
Yeah.
are still doesn't have any subtitle, and they are not there, or
Hmm.
most of them are lost its color grading, so it hasn't upscaled or like put it out there. So I do
Hmm.
not think it's still enough content has been kind of shared between culture. Yes, there are
Yeah.
some has shared, but I think we have just touched only surface. Like that's what I'm saying. Like in my childhood, I grew up watching a lot of amazing films already,
Hmm.
and
Hmm. Hmm.
my friends and everybody. So our expectation of storytelling and story and acting and everything is already in a certain standard by just watching those amazing films.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many other regional films are being popular and at the same time great and good. And I don't know if it
Hmm.
exists there or not, or is it a smaller number? Again, I don't know. And I want to share what my culture, literature, and cinema art and had, but it's always
Hmm.
lost in translation. It's never shared. Finally, we
Right.
have an OTT. So in the past few years, some films were good has been subtitled, but that's just
Yeah.
really the surface of it. Still, is how I
That
feel.
is true.
Yeah.
But do you see your acting, considering you come from a theater background and a very strong theater background, do you see your acting rooted in that kind of discipline and rigor?
Yeah, I mean, objectively or personally, I don't feel I'm very talented in acting, because even in childhood, I was not passionate about acting or anything. See, I think if you have a talent, you naturally tend to, you know, gravitate towards that thing a little bit. I've had
You're
it
being
only
modest, you
in
are so talented.
uh, no, in art, I've had it for music and dance, but for acting, I particularly did not have it. I was not, I used to watch it, but I never felt like I wanting to act or anything. I just happened to do it. So it took a long time for me to actually start liking doing acting. I like
Hmm.
actors, but myself doing it took a long time for me. But by the time I liked, yes, I think I am trying my best of rigorous and disciplined practice. I prefer that I always prefer a disciplined
Hmm.
practice and rigorous practice on any craft that you want to excel at. And I don't like when people just rely on their talent that probably they have from when they were born. But I really do think you have to better your craft so that you can
Yeah.
surprise yourself, that the possibility of you can even go ahead than what you are capable, that comes from only rigorous practice of your craft, is how I see it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, how do you go about picking your roles? I mean, looking at your body of work, there are different kinds of roles that you have done. You have done films like, of course, making.
No,
Yeah, sorry, no, I was just saying that how do you go about picking a script? What is your thought behind a specific role? What do you look at when you pick a role to play in a film?
actually, I don't have an ideal situation, or I am able to pick it the way I want it to be, want me to be able to choose it.
Hmm.
Most of the time, I hear the story, and sometimes I am not very happy with the story itself. Then I'm like, okay, the character has something. Maybe I can perform. Maybe this is a chance for me to just learn how to do a character like this. Maybe sometimes
Yeah,
that's the only thing attracting me. But sometimes I'm like, I do not like the story or the character, but the
yeah,
director seems interesting, and maybe I may get to learn something working with this director. So it's always been, or mostly has been,
hmm,
um, one reason among many. and most of the other things is probably not falling in the right place, but there is one reason, okay, I'll do it, is how it has
Right.
happened. But there is like 3 4 films I've been in love with the story or the character and the director and the team.
Right.
It's again not my, maybe like, I'm not saying my performance was best in it or it was the perfect scenario or anything, but it was a decent scenario where I feel like, okay, I want to play this, I want to do this, that kind of feeling. Ideally, I
Yeah.
would like to hear such many stories and be able to, oh, these two I want to do or something like that, but that has never come, so I can't really say I've picked up. In fact, I
Yeah.
mostly end up doing most of the things that comes on my way.
Were there any specific directors you wanted to work with, actors who you wanted to work with?
So when I grew up, like I have felt working with
Mhm.
KG George or Padmarajan. Even though
Right.
Padmarajan, some stories are probably very misogynistic, but I still
Right.
liked his characters.
Mm.
I kind of liked his storytelling or the, I mean, it has a lot of problems, but as an actor, I would have still liked to play some of those characters I felt. And then like KG George is somebody I felt working with. Otherwise, uh there are a lot of actors that I really liked, but I
Mm.
think someone I really look up to and like love like really is
Mhm.
there is this actor called Denis Lavon, like French actor
Mhm.
who's in Holy Motors also. Like he's
Yeah.
someone like somebody I really look up to. Like that's the level probably I really truly admire. Like
Mhm.
something that I don't even think it's kind of I won't be able to reach there, but I just really love that form.
Mm.
Then there are some form or like a style of acting that I am really fascinated by is always like Charlie Chaplin or Jim Carrey. Then in Kerala,
Yeah.
if it comes to Jagati, I truly
Mhm.
adore the way they are crazy the way they perform, and I love that. When it comes to very subtle, nuanced, realistic acting, I like a lot of actors, but
Mhm.
I am not. I'm not inspired by them in a way that I'm inspired by these very stylized actors who would surprise you, like, because they are not going to play safe. They're gonna just
Mhm.
do it like the way it's gonna come. So which I really love. Than so of course I love Mammootty, or I love a lot of like Mohanlal back in the days, or Tilakan. We had many actors. In female actresses, we have like had Urvashi, or this very old actor called Meena. I mean,
Yeah.
not the new actor Meena, but like old
Yeah.
actor.
Yeah.
She passed away.
Yeah.
Philomena. There are many
Mhm.
actors like that. I really love Mamukoya, or like
Mhm.
Pappu, or like Innocent, and there's so many actors like whom Innocent also had like a very strong style of acting. It's
Mhm.
not necessary that he's gonna pull out a certain characterization in a film or anything. They're doing their own thing, which I find very interesting actually. Maybe because I'm from theater, I love that
Yeah.
about them. And like I said, Jim Carrey or Charlie Chaplin, and there are so many such actors that I really love.
Right.
And if my mind is capable of reflecting and or course correct, or able to engage in a discourse with no bias, or some a lot of qualities that I actually admire, I think probably if at all anything is left in me, it's all because of them, I think. Yeah.
Saying not in a very clear cut and obvious way, but the way parents influence you, even if you're not conscious of the fact that they are around you. But anyway, let's move on to before the all that the Imagine was announced as the winner. You made a splash on the red carpet for an altogether different reason, for flaunting the watermelon bag in solidarity with Palestine. And it was a very brave and bold step that was really praised by the Indian media and all of us, uh, those who feel strongly about what has been happening in Gaza, for instance. Was that very conscious to do? Did you think about it before? You know, and were you also aware of, because considering there were rules in place at can not to
Yeah, the protocol.
yeah, those protocols, you were not really bothered about them.
So yeah, it was a conscious choice only. I mean, I wouldn't be able to
Mm.
have a handmade bag by then if it was
Of course.
spontaneous.
Yeah.
Yeah, so so when I did not know firstly if I was going to go because I was shooting, so it was a little difficult to be able to go. And generally also I don't really go for anything. So this one, but I was like, okay, if I get time, I should go, I thought. And then this nice people I'm working with, they kindly let me gave me some leave so I could go finally.
Right.
And so when I knew for a fact that I'm going, and then I've told my friend Dia, she's a designer also, so I've told her that. She was very excited. Oh, I want to dress you, like style you. And I said, I don't want to think too much about these things, I'm not that person also. So I was
Mm.
like, but I know that the one thing I want for sure, no matter what I'm wearing, whatever I want, to have a gesture or of some kind that shows solidarity
Mm.
to Palestine. So I was like, what it can be. I like the idea of watermelon, but how to go about it? Should we do some embroidery on something I'm wearing?
Mm.
Or it should be. Then later we thought, should it be like the map, like a flower embroidery of a map of Gaza, or should it be that? We were thinking of that. And then I was like, okay, maybe I'll wear the sari, then maybe it's an embroidery, or should we do this? This was brainstorming, and then she was telling me maybe a clutch, and I'm like, oh, that's not a bad idea. So no matter what I'm wearing, I can always hold it. So that doesn't matter, because I didn't want to fix what I'm wearing and all. I thought I'll go with. I first didn't know even. I thought one red carpet is the only thing, so I'll just whatever. So they said no, there is something called photo call, and then there is, if you win, then you'll have to go again. And I'm like, oh, okay. So at least few number of attires you should have. And then I thought, okay, I'll go with what I have, and then whatever everybody wants me to wear, I'll wear that. I did not have any
Yes.
particulars. I just thought that this I want to carry no matter what I'm gonna wear. So that was the only idea.
Mm.
Um, but it's also, I particularly didn't think that I am doing something bold or like uh, that way, because there were many other artists who have come also have shown such solidarity
Yes.
in their own different ways. And not just about Palestine. There were violence against women in workspace that was there, and then there was
Yes.
this most of the apparently French film festivals. The crew that worked behind it, it was not violating some of their human rights and not getting paid enough and all that. So there were a lot of us, even including me, was wearing a badge for that. All this was happening, and then actually we were told in one of the primary meeting. That's when I find out that more than one attire you have to have, and I'm like, okay. And one of our actor asked the person who was in charge, is there any protocol that we have to, like, I think what the actor meant was like, can I wear anything, or all these
Yeah.
things, what. But then I think that for the French person took it differently. It's like, maybe the festival people don't like any statement or like something written of other things and everything. And that moment I was thinking, okay, so because my bag was already getting made, okay. So I was like, I was like, okay, this is probably going to be a problem. So I actually wanted to share it with my entire team that I am going to have this. Then I thought maybe I don't
Mm.
want to share it because I thought I will put them under pressure and unknowingly. Like I
Mm.
thought, okay, I'll just have it and I'll take full responsibility of whatever is going to happen, if at all anything to happen. So that person also said that if it's not too direct, maybe it's okay, but ideally they wouldn't like any of it.
Mm.
So I was like, okay. And then, so nobody knew. The previous day our French producers were like, we should have had something that we support Gaza. They were already telling this, why we didn't
Mm.
think of this or something. They were saying, and I was like, okay, maybe they'll be feeling happy if I have this tomorrow. And yes, they were happy, like, kind of, thank you that you thought about this. They were thankful to me. But
Yeah.
most of us had also like a tiny sticker on their phone and everything, so everybody
Mm.
had some kind of solidarity that they wanted to show. But I think probably because this was like a clutch or whatever, this probably had more attention.
got more
But
attention.
everyone, yeah, yeah, that's
But
what.
it was also something, Kani, that that you were told for. There were some section of people in this on the social media who said that he's the same actor, she's the same actor who has done a film like Biryani, and those were of course different circumstances. And you have said in interviews that you did not have
Yeah,
anything to do with the political ideology of the film, and
yeah.
and you were somebody who also refused Kerala's story. So that only indicates
It
that.
was not
Uh,
Kerala story that I refused. I said that director came with another film which also had very strong gaze
okay.
on. I don't think it is released yet. They wanted me to audition, but I didn't want to even work with that director because I was like, if that person has directed this, I don't. I need time to rethink if he wants to say some. See, I'm not very against cancel culture, honestly.
Yes.
Not very, it's not something that I probably appreciate
Mm.
much unless someone is a serial oppressor of many kind.
Yes.
Maybe I probably don't want to ever work with or associate with that person. But if somebody is making something and have a they feel they regret and they want to course correct or whatever, I would
Mm.
want to give people chance in trying to better themselves, and or this is there in me. But
Absolutely.
um but I was like, okay, I'm not very sure of wanting to work with this director.
Mm.
So yeah, so I didn't not even hear it or something. So I'm saying that
Yes.
yeah, that is there because in the last 2 3 years I have certain kind of freedom financially,
Mm.
and I can at least choose not to do some of the things for the sake of money. But till a certain time that was not the case. Also, I also don't believe that actor has to take the entire responsibility for the work they do, because you really don't know what
Absolutely.
circumstances the actor is willing to do this and everything. We don't even have contracts in Kerala properly,
Mm.
so you really have no idea where this is like all this is happening in that way. So that is there. And plus, when even for biryani, when Sajin came, it was his life story for him. So for me, I also felt that I don't have the right to kind of tell him no, it is not this. So um, for me, politically also, it was not something I'm liking, but equally I did not. What I do not like in that film is not just political problems. I also do not like the aesthetics of it, for example, or
Mm.
the way the script was written is not something I feel in awe of.
Mm.
Similarly, there are many films I have worked with, I felt the same, but I still
Mm.
worked on all of that. I think this had more attention because for its political stance that people interpreted, I would say, because Sajin refuses that he doesn't say that it meant to be it meant to generate Islamophobia or something. So that's not how he sees it, the director. So people, that is also there. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah, it was a film, and you had to do your bit, and you did your bit really wonderfully because you won the Best Actress Award at the Moscow International Film
Yeah.
Festival for that role. So no,
And the
hmm,
and the other things I've read is people are like, then why are you not talking about that issue or this issue? So this is some
hmm,
whataboutery that I always see
yeah,
online. Like you stand
hmm,
on something like what you do, what about, like, and I don't even think they even know there is something called
right.
whataboutery anyway.
So how do you keep yourself insulated? Does it hurt? Or do you sort of just look past it and move on? How do you deal with it?
Some things sometimes hurt. Like for example, last 2 days there was something that really bothered me because I was
Hmm.
extremely tired when I came back. I had jet lag, and then I was shooting this very same day, and I just came back home after all that journey and work and everything. And this
Hmm.
one channel wanted to interview me at that 11 p.m., and I was so tired. I still gave them, and then
Hmm.
um when you're very tired, it's not easy to even articulate the way you want it and everything, but still I gave it.
Absolutely.
And then they have telecasted it, and then I see their social media page where they have edited it, chopped it in a way that what I spoke was entirely miscommunicated. Like
Oh,
it sounded like I had no money, hence I end up doing the nude scenes in the film. And
hmm.
instead of me saying, even though I didn't agree with the aesthetics or the politics of the film, or it was not something charming to me, I still end up
Yeah.
doing it because I had no money at that time and I wanted to do, and it had other reasons also. That was the first film, not the first film.
Mm.
I had two other films came to me way before where I was the lead, but
Yeah.
one thing, both of them didn't happen for some for other reasons. One I had acted, but it didn't finish, whatever. So this was
Mm.
another film came out to me after a long time where I could see if I can, shoulder a film on me, like how to that see the character growth and everything. I wanted to see how and that is one chance as an actor I get also, to see if I'm how much I'm able to and what it feels like. So that was an opportunity also for me, to explore that. So this channel have their web page or something, completely edited it differently, and
Mm.
I begin that conversation saying that I have no particular sense of being problem for being nude or anything. Of course,
Mm.
a lot of films have male gaze in it, and
Yeah.
including even biryani. I would feel, even though Sajin maybe consciously didn't do wanting to do it, but to avoid male gaze, you need to learn the craft of cinema in a way that you will, even unknowingly, you will not end up doing it. So for that
Mm.
you have to learn, is how I see. Even when you don't want to do, because a lot of female directors also I've seen full of male gaze when they shoot a woman. It's not necessarily, doesn't have to be love making scene or nude scene or anything. Even if when they show actors lips or anything, it feels like a gaze. Even female filmmakers, I have seen this multiple times, so that's what I'm saying. So even when unknowingly you end up kind of titillating the audience in its way. So all this is there. So, and it's nothing to do with just biryani. Even everything else
Yeah.
I have done also may have it. And
Mm.
I can literally probably count 2 to 3 films which did not have it, for example. So I had all these reasons to not do it. But I was like, okay, this is one opportunity for me to do an entire character, and I did not have money. And Sajin said it's his life story. So I had
Mm.
some justification to do it, but I still know that if I had plenty of choices, I may not have ended up doing it. That is also there. So the lack of options were probably what led to me to kind of, and which I shared with Sajin back then. Also, we both knew how we are
Mm.
engaging in this project.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I did. So I'm saying, yeah, these were, so I, back to your question, did have I get hurt? So I felt violated when the source itself, whom I have given the interview, have chopped that interview in a way that, so I saw thousands of comments below that. Oh, some people are empathizing with me. They're saying, "Oh, she's so sad. For money, she had to blah blah blah, like
Mm.
do a nude scene." Then somebody's like, "Oh, that back then you were okay to do. Now that you got to go to Khan, that now you want to." I don't know. Like, people are like really crazy. So I don't care about these comments. What I care is, like, I have given this channel this thing, and either they, even if they want to edit, you cannot take the meaning out of what I said. You have to make sure that my articulation is equally put out there, even if you edit, and you can't change the meaning of what I said for your clickbait or something. So this, I get very affected. So I did get affected, and they have removed it. They have put an apology note also, good.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's not about getting hurt. And I'm like, even when you articulate so rightly, your words are always misinterpreted according to other people. So if you're already consciously then edited in a way, and then like, it goes out of hand, then so that I get upset. But otherwise, when people comment and all,
Right.
some people, if they have a genuine comment, even if it is not truthful to what I did and everything, I try to engage or try to tell them, because I always see there is some worth in engaging in a dialogue. But then
Yeah.
I see a lot of people, I know that there is no point in doing that, so I ignore.
In 2015, you played the role of Teresa, of course, in K.K. Rajiv's Ishwaran Sakshai, and it was a soap opera. But do you see it as a turning point in your career as an actor? Because considering it was something that you made you popular, sort of a household name. Okay.
I don't know. Actually, I'm not sure, because that time I was living in Bombay and I wanted some reason to come to Kerala every month. So
Okay.
to even experience what you just said, I had to live in Kerala. I am coming here
Mm.
4 5 days every month to shoot, then I'm going back. So I don't know if it
Right.
changed anything for me also that way. But the one thing was good thing was, like, that's where I met Divya. who's my co-actor in
Yeah.
All We Imagine As Light. So
Yeah.
we did that soap opera together. We did a play together. Then we did a film together. So that way, our friendship has like a journey. So which I think is fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Uh, you had not just one film at Cannes, but two. There was Suchi Talati's Girls Will Be Girls,
Yeah.
another complex, multi-layered. It is a mother and daughter coming of age story, but uh, one of those films which is, of course, stands out for the portrayal of its women characters. And would you like to talk a little bit about that film and how did it happen? Of course, it's Richa Chadha's and
Yeah.
yeah, Ali Fazal's production first film. But if you could talk a little bit about that as well.
So Shuchi's film also I have auditioned. I have auditioned
Mm,
and then I think Shuchi liked my performance, so she called me. But when I read the script, so for Payal's film, for example, immediately the script connected to me. Shuchi's film, I
mhm,
didn't quite get it actually. So I was not
mhm,
very sure. So I talked to the casting director whom I gave the audition. He was like, she really likes you. Then I was like, I don't know exactly what I about the script. I'm confused. Maybe because I didn't get it. You know, sometimes when you read, you don't really understand. You interpret it in your own brain mind, and it can completely give a different meaning probably. Then we had a call with the director. Then I talked to her, I met her, and the moment I talked to Shuji, I felt no, this is something different, and I really like her. The way she was talking, I felt there is infinite probability for me to grow as an actor because she's also extremely open minded to kind of try out all kind of things. So she's really incredible that way. So then they found Preeti and we were having some rehearsals, and that moment I was like, okay, I want to really work with her because she was doing for first time, but she was really amazing.
mhm,
And the way Preeti interpreted that character Meera, immediately everything I understood about the film. That experience was also unique. And then Shuchi's film, the best another thing was like, I think the crew was more than 50% women. Is how I remember. Like DOP to focus puller to, it was just ran by women and women only. Like it was just amazing that way.
yeah,
Um, and again working with Shuchi, was she had her own like, she would probably direct the scene how it's written, then she
mm,
will completely reinterpret my character's lines in a different way and ask Preeti to stick on to the same thing. So it's a different combination. Then she will ask Preeti to do something else and I have to stick on to what it was before. Then we have to do something completely new. So she had so many different probabilities of most scenes. I
mm.
haven't been able to watch the film yet because she probably want to watch it together. I'm
Okay.
super curious how the film is turned out because I really don't know what my character will be because she had different uh,
Mm,
permutations of
mm.
the
Okay.
scenes, and depends what she chose how my character is gonna be. So I'm really curious about this. Especially Richa, she's been, even after the film, she's been like a very strong spirit that really supports me. She's always like, even when this film was selected in Cannes, she was like, "Do you want me to give you something? Shall I help?" Like she's always messaging and she's like being very supportive, like very extremely friendly. Yeah.
Great, wonderful. On that note, Kani, you made India proud, and it's cliched. It sounds cliched, but more power to you. May you continue to do wonderful work, many more wonderful films, many more wonderful roles. Thank you so much for talking to us. It was a pleasure
Thank you.
having you.
Yes.